Hopefully you've never had an opportunity to use any of those and never will. Hey, I think I happen to see my bearded friend, almost bearded, at least stubbled friend, Jose Vladimir. Good morning, Jose.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Rick. Can you hear me well?
Yes, sir.
Wonderful. I wanted to say good morning to everyone and thank you for having me. It's been actually a long time since I have the opportunity to address all of you. And I am very happy to be here this morning. In case you're wondering what was happening for the past few months or so, for the past month, actually, I've been going through some medical problems with my back. And last month I was operated. And last week I was operated, and I'm going through the process of recovering. So that's the reason why you have not seen me, but I am very happy to be here. And so I want to thank Rick, Steve, all of you for your support, the KW203 team, everyone who has inquired about me. I want to thank you so much. You are truly a family. You're really wonderful, and I can't thank you enough. Thank you. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. With that said, let's jump in. Let's talk about what's important to you guys. Today, I would like to talk to you about FHA financing. FHA mortgages, usually they get a bad rap, perhaps because in the past they were difficult for sellers to accept because of property conditions. But I'm here to tell you that FHA is a very good lending product that you should consider, seriously consider whenever you see an offer coming for any of your listing properties. FHA is a lending program that, as you know, is insured by the federal government. It provides fixed and adjustable rate mortgages. This is a program that will allow a borrower to buy a 1 to 4 unit property, believe it or not, with a 3.5% down payment. Say that again, 3.5% down payment for a 4 unit property? That is correct. So you could really buy a multi-unit property as long as it is for primary purposes. You're going to live on one of the units. You can actually buy a multi-unit family with a 3.5% down payment. The credit score for FHA is very reasonable. GRA requires a minimum credit score of 600, but technically FHA in reality doesn't have a credit score requirement. Lenders make up their own credit score need or their own requirement based on their lending parameters. For GRA, it is 600. The lending guidelines are flexible. The debt to income ratio is 55%, believe it or not. And if seller assistance is required, the borrower can get up to 6% seller help. The interest rates today for the FHA program is 2.75% with 0 points. And get this, since we are in a high cost market, the maximum financing for FHA is $601,450. What else I can tell you? One of the biggest fears a lot of sellers have about FHA is that the property condition. Many people believe that the property has to be perfect. That's not so. The property must be free of hazards and conditions that could pose a risk to the health and safety of the occupants and any type of adverse structural problems. And that's it. There used to be a time where people would be terrified of FHA because they may require hand railings or anything like that. That is possible only if it can pose a hazard for the occupants of the property. I mean, if you have somebody going down a flight of stairs that is 10 flights of stairs and there's no handrail and there are no walls that they can hold on to, that can potentially be a problem. Other than that, FHA is very flexible. Yes, there's some issues with peeling paint that need to be corrected. And the reason is because if the property was built prior to 1978, there's a fear that there's lead paint. Other than that, if the property has been, for the lack of a better term, if there is a pride of ownership, right? If the property has pride of ownership, there's no reason why an FHA mortgage would not be a good option to be considered. Please keep that in mind. It is a pleasure to speak to all of you today. My name is Jose from Guaranteed Rate Affinity. I am your Spanish-speaking loan officer. If there's anything that I can do for you, please don't hesitate to contact me. I will put my contact information in the chat. And if any of my teams can help you, if I'm not around, please don't hesitate to reach out to John or Kristen. We are here to help you. Thank you all for your time, and it is wonderful to see you.
Thank you so much, Jose. Great to have you back and on the mend. And just in case you're taking a poll, I vote for keep the facial hair. I like it. Very distinguished. You know what we can do? We can take an actual poll for you in the chat. So all those in favor of Jose keeping facial hair, go ahead and give us a yay in the chat box.
I love it. Thank you. Well, you know, I was telling my wife told me that she wanted to date somebody new, and I was like, okay, well, here you go.
See that? I love it. I love it. Necessity is the mother of invention, right? All right. So a couple of quick announcements for you. Today at noon, we do have our profit share team meeting. So do join your team leaders at 12 noon for your twice a month meeting to push you forward in earning at a higher and higher level on your profit share. Also today at 1 o'clock, immediately following that profit share team, navigating multiple offers. So for those of you who need some assistance there or want to brainstorm some ideas, we will be right here in this Zoom room for about 59.5 minutes to take care of that with you. Other things to make sure that you have in your calendar, the 11th of August at 1 o'clock, a pre-Mega Camp Mastermind. That is open to everyone, whether you're registered for Mega Camp or not. Most of the other things that we are doing as it relates to Mega Camp are for those registered only. That pre-mastermind is open for everyone, hoping at the last minute we can convince you that Mega Camp is definitely worth your $119. So do join us for that mastermind, as well as later that evening, your team leaders are hosting a career night for anybody who is unlicensed or licensed and at another organization that wants to just kind of check things out and see what we might have to offer. 5:30 that evening on the 11th. And then the last thing to put in your calendar, our next sales rally, which will be a hybrid of in-person and virtual. So that'll be a whole lot of fun. We're going to have a whole lot of fun with that. The 9th of September. So it's going to be like a welcome back to school, end of summer, after Labor Day, don't wear white, whatever you want to call it, sales rally on the 9th of September at 12 noon, lunch provided. So we're excited to get back to some in-person sales rallies. Now, of course, that all is dependent upon everything that goes on the next couple of weeks, but that is the plan for now, right? To have a hybrid version, both in person and digital. So there's my announcements. I wanted to spend the time that I have today kind of running through just a couple of updates for you. And I'm excited to have so many of you on this morning for those updates. Let's start with our listings update. As you know, we are now in our, I think our second or third iteration of a listings challenge. This one is 62 days long from July the 1st through the morning of the 1st of September. So a total of 62 days, and we set that target squarely at 300. As you know, we have been kind of killing that number. And as of today, if you do the math on a 300 listing goal, we should be at about 165 listings. Let me take the word about out. We should be at 165 listings if we are on target for our goal. Because you are who you are, everyone look to the left, look to the right, look up, look down, and now say out loud, wow, those are some massively brilliant people I'm taking a look at. There you go. Thank you for that. Thanks for playing. So 165 as of today is where we should be. You are at 197. So you are killing the goal of 300 listings with about 28 days or so to go. By the way, that does not include rentals. If you throw rentals in there, we're at 244 out of 165. So you're killing it either way. You're killing it even more if you include the rentals. And as I mentioned to you, I was going to take a look and spot check us against the main competitor in each of our major markets. And I'm going to tell you that I did that. The information is slightly less relevant just simply because it gets hard to adjust for our size versus their size, number of offices and all that kind of stuff. So I can tell you that the spot checking I did says that you are outperforming, that what I'm reporting to you is not happening in a lot of our competitors' offices, right? People in my position at some other offices don't get to report every week on the fact that we have 40 or 50 more listings than we even thought we should based on an aggressive goal. So that's what you're doing. What I did do, though, was take a look county-wide, just to kind of put it in perspective. With you and your size, you represent just about a little more than 7% of the real estate agents in Fairfield County. However, in the past 34 days, you represent almost 10% of all the listings that have been taken. So you are disproportionately taking more listings based on your size than the rest of the marketplace. So that's kind of how I justified just considering you more awesome than I already did. So for some more awesome points, take that. All righty, so congratulations on that. Keep going. I'm excited to look at the new August calendar, the new August training calendar, because somewhere in there on Mondays, starting this coming Monday, we have panels each Monday at 1 o'clock. There's a tech panel, a buyer panel, a listings panel. If you're not diving in and taking listings at a high level and contributing to that number, make sure that you are on that listing panel, because the ones who are going to be on that panel telling you exactly what they're doing and how they're doing it, where they're finding those listings. All right, so I have a whole big long list of updates for you, but I want to dive into the evictions one. I have a feeling that a lot of you are here for that. As you may know, in the state of Connecticut, the eviction moratorium that was put in place in the spring, late spring of 2020, expired on June the 30th, right? Expired on June the 30th. However, the federal CDC moratorium was still in place through July the 31st. So just this past Monday, I guess that was, right? Or Tuesday, whatever the 31st was. Please note that as of last night, the White House has decided to extend via the CDC the federal moratorium through October. Now, it is unclear, well, I think it is pretty clear whether or not the White House had the authority to do that. And the answer is no. The Supreme Court already told the White House last month that if they were going to extend anything more, Congress had to authorize it. Congress has not authorized that extension. And so they did it as kind of a Hail Mary, hoping that people would be a little bit freaked out by the fact that there's this moratorium in place, even though it probably is not able to be upheld. So that's kind of where we stand on what the rules say and what the rules don't say. And if you're confused by what I just said, there's good reason to be, because there is absolutely zero clarity. Here's the clarity I can bring to the table for you. Based on what the law currently says in our state and across the country, based on the Supreme Court's ruling 6 weeks ago that the CDC overstepped its bounds and was unable to continue to extend this moratorium past the 31st. If you are a landlord or you have clients who are landlords, my advice is to take immediate action. Don't wait to see what's going to happen. Don't wait because it's inconvenient today or tomorrow. Get a hold of your attorney, whoever handles those evictions, and take immediate action on those that you may need to take action against. Push forward as if all of these moratoriums have expired, because I believe that from a legal perspective, they have expired. Now, you can't just go to your folks and to your attorney and say, well, Rick said go ahead and do this. Clearly get the advice of your legal counsel and follow the advice of your legal counsel. However, I'm just trying to crystal ball this for you and look into the future. I believe what Biden did yesterday was simply a Hail Mary to buy some time so that we could figure out, because remember, Congress is now on vacation until September. So there is no way for Congress to necessarily authorize this before September. So you have these next couple of weeks to dive in and start filing let the courts come back in our state and say, sorry, we can't take this action. I don't believe that they will do that. So I would move forward and start getting these actions in place. Now, this may sound very landlord heavy. I apologize for that. I may be speaking as a landlord more than I am speaking about this more objectively. However, if you have tenant clients or you are a tenant and are in a struggle position, please note, I'm going to give you the flip side of this, right? Either for you personally or for your clients who may be in this scenario. If in fact they had filed the federal CDC, we can't be kicked out because of this, and this form previously, they do not have to file it again. If they haven't filed that, I would be clear with them that they should be waving their arms to their landlord saying, no, 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 the CDC now extended the moratorium through October. You can't kick me out. I would have them utilize that as a tool. Again, that may or may not be true, depending on how everything is interpreted over the course of the next couple of weeks and maybe even months. However, if you're attempting to help someone stay put, that's the other side of this, right? There was a process in place to utilize a document to deliver to landlords that said, because of the CDC moratorium, I am because of the things I'm checking, I am requesting that I not be evicted or that I cannot be evicted, right? Those documents, I think, are still going to stay important. So that's kind of the update on evictions. When I actually wrote the first email to you last night, I didn't even know that what had happened yesterday late in the day had happened. So the news is evolving very, very quickly. So stay tuned. We'll keep you as up to date as we possibly can. But for right now, if there's action to be taken, if, in my opinion, I think you should take it because who knows what's going to occur in the next couple of weeks as we continue to keep juggling. By the way, there is in the state of Connecticut, it's called Unite CT. That's where the billions of dollars that the federal government back in March carved out for rental assistance, both for landlords who are not getting paid and for tenants who can't afford to pay their back rent can go and apply for it. So Unite CT, I would Google it. I'll send out perhaps a link if I can find one for the registration and or application if that's helpful to you and or your clients. But there is a place to get money if you so need it. All right, continuing on with our updates. So there's our listings update and our evictions update. PPP, oh my goodness. Feels like wearing an old sweater, doesn't it? It's been so long since we've talked about PPP. And so I just wanted to reiterate to you that for those of you who applied and were approved for your for the second round of PPP, remember that you do also have to A, use the funds and B, apply for forgiveness. And so because no one's really talking about PPP much anymore, I wanted to just remind you that if in fact your money has been exhausted and you're ready for that application process for forgiveness, contact the lender that you worked with and ask them what their process is. Some people have a form, some people have a portal, some people will tell you to wait a little longer, some people will say do it now. But take the guidance and advice of the lender that gave you loaned you that money. They will be your best opportunity. If for some reason you cannot figure out exactly where to go or what to do, or they've told you and it doesn't make sense, please just contact me directly and I will be happy to set up a time or a place for us to sit and help you process that. But just don't forget that you do have to actually apply for the forgiveness, and the time is probably just about now for those of you who have exhausted the funds to start looking into that. Contact your lender for better information. Moving down our list, tax updates in the MLS. Every July, most of you recognize that most municipalities update their tax information. They change their mill rates, right? And so in the old days, we actually had to go ahead and update all of our listings every July by hand. The good news is that the MLS, according to its latest announcement yesterday, has gone ahead and done that for you this year, right? They have updated your assessments, they have updated your mill rates, they've updated your tax amounts, they've updated the tax year on all of your listings for the most part. I am going to send out a little later today I will put the link in the chat box right this very moment. I'm pretty sure that will work. If you want a list of all the new tax rates, you can access it there and maybe print that and double check it against your listings if you so choose. There are a few towns that remain blank, and so you may have to verify information and update those listings for those few towns that the MLS did not do on your behalf. But for the most part, you are all set with the MLS. Our models, our compensation models that we had been hot and heavy on March, April, May with a June 1st rollout date. I wanted to give you an update on that. That has not gone away, by the way. I know it's been a little quiet on that front. Those are still in place. Those conversations are still being had with team leaders for you to choose those models. The reason we've been a little quiet on it, and I understand that when we're quiet, it seems like nothing's happening. I can assure you that is not what's going on. The reason we've been a little quiet on it is because just like anything that gets rolled out that's brand new, as it gets rolled out, we look at it and say, oh, you know what, maybe we should have tweaked it this way. Maybe that needs to say this. And so we continue to make tweaks and adjustments to those models and are excited to continue to roll those out. So everything that was associated with those models, all of our new services, we're in the middle of a redo on our concierge services, right? As most of you know, that was launched and it didn't quite go the way we expected it to go. And so we looked at the reasons why, and we're in the middle of adjusting that so that we can relaunch it in a service that actually is more beneficial to you than you found the first rollout. Our marketing services continue to get tweaked, and our transaction management services will be rolled out shortly, a little later than we expected. So just remember that we're still working really hard on your behalf, even though we aren't talking about it every single day on these Zoom calls. We're continuing to work towards making sure that the value proposition that we have in place for you is powerful and what you need for right now. So stay tuned. We're going to continue to work on that, and throughout the course of the next couple of weeks, be announcing some additional exciting things. You heard about the teams and the naming of teams, and anybody who calls their business something a little different. New rules from the state that go into effect on January the 1st. There is no real update on that from what I gave you last week. Thank you to the 45 of you or so who plugged into that session that we did with a lot of different questions. And I think what you found was, what came out of that was there are more questions than answers right now. So I just wanted to update you today with the advice we gave last week, which was know that has occurred, know that those rules have been announced, and our advice to you is do nothing, except maybe a couple of you said, yeah, I went out and I didn't quite do nothing. I went out and I bought new URLs. Right? If I was the Rick Scott Realty Group, I'm now Rick Scott Team. And so I went out and bought a URL that said Rick Scott Team in case I have to pivot to that so that I own the URLs. I think that's awesome, right? Looking ahead to see where you might go, and things like URL purchases, which are inexpensive. Just don't do a whole rebrand only to find out that you rebranded incorrectly and have to rebrand all over again. So for the most part, put a hold on any of that. We're going to keep you updated as we get more information. CE, wanted to do a quick update for you on CE. Remember, that is due next March 31st if you're a broker, next May 31st if you are a salesperson. That's 2022, and that's the 2 required courses plus 2 electives. The confusion, I think, is people have been asking me about the ethics piece of this. Right, so ethics is not Connecticut CE. Ethics, the requirement for ethics is a NAR requirement that you have to have an ethics course once every 3 years. The current 3-year period does end December 31st of 2021. So if you haven't had an ethics course from January the 1st of 2019 through today, you need to take one before December. Your board should be contacting you if you fall into that category. However, here's what I would do. If you have to take an elective course anyway to fill your CE requirements for next spring, just make sure between now and the end of this year, you take an ethics course, because now you've killed 2 birds with 1 stone, right? Or if you know you have already taken your ethics course for this period, which ends on the 21st, what I would do is in January or February, take an ethics course, because now you've used that 3 credits for your licensing CE for next spring, as well as put a check in the checkbox for the new 3-year period that starts January 1st, 2022. So I'm just trying to help you double dip a little bit. So think ahead about how you're going to balance ethics with all of that. Cole Realty Resource is the last thing I want to talk about. We had talked about a month or so ago about getting you some preferred pricing for Cole. We have not forgotten. We have been working with Cole to see what they can do. They kind of shut that down on us after they said they would do it. They shut it down. We've continued to push and work with them, and so we think we're moving forward with an opportunity to bring that back to you. So do watch in the next 2 weeks. We hope to have that solidified and information out to you for those of you who are interested. Guys, that is my update. I know we were a little long. I'm sorry for that. So what we're going to do, Adonis, if it's all right with you, is decide that we're going to push Mr. Marty Miller and the Designs Applet conversation till tomorrow.
Absolutely not.
Everyone.
The show must go on, Rick, right now.
Well, there you have it. Adonis has spoken, everyone. I am sorry to say, you must stay.
Tomorrow's by. Tomorrow's by.
Right. So we're going to end our conversation today. If you have any questions about any of this, please do reach out to your team leaders or reach out to me directly via text or email. Is the simplest and fastest way to get answers. We so appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for your time, efforts, and talent. Have a great day today. We'll see you later during class or tomorrow at 9 o'clock for another exciting Zoom call. Bye-bye.